Hello everyone, thank you so much for stopping by. In today's video, we're going to make this lovely skirt and top. If it's something you're interested in, please keep watching. Alright, so first of all, we're just going to go ahead to draft our basic skirt pattern. So I'm going to be using a freehand pattern drafting method. So I'm just going to draft directly on my fabric. So here I have my starting point. So I'm taking my waist measurement divided by 4, and here I'm imputing my hip measurement divided by 4. My hip length from the waist to that point is 10 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and take my hem measurement, that is my hip measurement, minus 1 inch. So here I'm just joining that point down. So sorry that I couldn't capture the hem of my skirt. So I'm just going to use my French roll to join my waist to my hip, and that's what I'm doing here. So after that, I'm just going to go ahead to take my scissors and cut out my skirt pattern. So that is the front of my skirt. Is as easy as that. Okay, so now I'm just going to go ahead to place my front skirt pattern on my fabric, because I want to cut out the back piece. So the difference between the front piece and the back piece is just the zipper allowance. So I'm keeping 1 inch for my zipper allowance. Then I'm just going to go ahead to cut the exact measurement for my back piece, but with 1 inch zipper allowance by the side of the skirt. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead to take my scissors and open that side, that zipper allowance. I'm just going to slash open it up. Okay, so I'm done with that. I'm just going to take from my waist to my hip length, and then I'm going to come in at that point by 1/2 inch, like so, and then I'm going to just form a curve to my hip length. So that's just to take away the excess at the zipper allowance side. So yes, I'm just going to go ahead to reduce 1 inch. I just remember that my skirt is going to have a band, so I'm just taking out 1 inch because I'm going to be adding a band to my skirt. So yes, now we have our front and back piece. So remember that my front piece is going to have an overlay on it, so that's what I'm going to go ahead to cut now. So I'm placing my front pattern on another piece, so the length of the actual front pattern is longer than the overlay. So I'm just taking out 7 inches from my actual skirt's front piece to get the overlay. So that's what I'm doing right here. So I'll just cut that out, and now we have our 2 front pieces, and then we have a back piece. So now I'm going to go ahead to work on my actual front piece, like the first one. So here I'm going to take out, my skirt has a slit, so I'm just measuring 14 inches for my slit, and I'm taking out that allowance that I had there. So I'm taking out that 1 inch allowance since it's going to be a slit, so I don't need that 1 inch allowance anymore. So I'm doing the same thing on the other side of my skirt, 14 inches, and I'm also taking out 1 inch allowance that was there. So yeah, so now I'm going to go ahead to measure the remaining part of my skirt. I'm going to divide that by 2 inches because I'm going to be marking 2 inches for what I'm going to be doing right now. So I'm taking 2 inches all around to the other end of my pattern. So now I'm going to come up by 3 inches, like so. So I'm marking 3 inches like so till the other end of my pattern too. So yes, that's okay. So I'm using my ruler to just join those points together and then form the shape that I'm going to achieve. So that's what I'm doing here. Then after that, I'm just going to take my scissors and cut out the part that I want to cut out to form the shape that I want the hem of the skirt to look like. So that's what I'm doing right here. I'm just cutting out that part. so we're done with that. Here I'm just going to go ahead to take that overlay piece. I'm going to go ahead to form a curve on it, and I'm going to also form the same shape that I did on my actual front piece here. Okay, yes, so I'm just going to go ahead to cut it to form the different shapes, just like I did on my actual front piece. So this is the overlay, but it's going to have the same shape, so that's what I'm doing here. Okay, so I'm done. This is my two front piece, the actual front piece and the overlay front piece. So now I'm just going to go ahead to do the same thing for my back piece. I'm going to form the same shape at the down part of my back sleeve. Also, I'm going to cut out that slit. I didn't cut out that 1 inch at the slit side of my skirt. Just going to go ahead to cut that out. Okay, so now remember my skirt has a band, so now this is my band. My band is 3 inches, so that's what I'm doing. I'm just cutting out my band here. Okay, so that's all for the skirt piece. So now I'm just going to go ahead to cut out my top. So for the top, I'm just going to cut both front and back together. So here I'm taking the length of my top, which I took 60 inches. So I'm just going to mark it and then cut it out first of all. So here I have my piece on fold, 4 pieces on fold. So okay, now so I'm going to go ahead to draft my basic top, my basic block. So I'm going to take my shoulder measurement divided by 2. I'm going to take my horizontal measurement, which is my shoulder to chest line. I'm using 8 for my chest line and 10 inches for my bust line, my shoulder to under bust, my half length and my top length. Okay, so I'm going to mark my shoulder measurement there and join it all the way up. So my 3 inches for my neck width and my slope 1 inch, I'm going to join that point. So now I'm just going to go ahead to measure my bust divided by 4, and then I'll plus 1 inch. So in allowance I'll do the same thing for my under bust divided by 4 and my waist divided by 4 and plus 1 inch. So in allowance, and okay, I'm going to join those points together. Then I'm going to go ahead here, divide my armhole length by 2, mark that point, and then I'm going to use my French curve to join that point to my chest line. So that's what I'm doing here. So after that, I'm just going to go ahead to get my neck depth. Width is 3 inches for my front, and I'm going to use my French curve to mark that part. Then I'm going to take 1.5 inches for my back neck depth, and I'm going to curve it to like so. Then I'm going to go ahead to cut out my back piece first. So I'm just cutting out my back piece, and then afterwards I'm going to separate my back piece from my front piece, and I'm going to go ahead to cut my front piece separately so that I don't mistakenly cut my front piece as my back piece. So that's what I'm doing here, just cutting out the pieces. So now let's work on my zipper allowance. So for my zipper allowance, I'm just going to go ahead to find my waist, my half length. Then I'm going to come in by half inches there. So I'm just going to join that point like so. So that part is just to reduce the excess, the bulkiness in that area. So I'm just going to go ahead to cut that out. So now I'm going to go ahead to separate my front piece from my back piece. So yes, so now I'm going to work on my front piece. I'm going to first of all cut out my neck, my front piece neckline. So yes, after that I'm going to now cut out my front piece. Has a joining at the down part of it. So I'm just going to cut out and create a curve there where I'm going to place the piece. So I'm just going to go ahead to take out 1 inch, that's sewing allowance, and I'm going to come up by 3 inches there. So I'm going to use my curve rule to curve that part like so. Then I'm just going to go ahead to cut it out, and then we have my front piece. Okay, so now we have a front and back piece. So now this is the piece that I'm going to be joining. So I have 10 inches, so on fold is 5 inches each. The length of this piece is 60 inches. Okay, so now we are done cutting. Let's go ahead to sew our pieces together. So first of all, I'm working on my top. So here I'm using my blue bias to bias the neck of my top. So this is not the regular biasing, it's just it's just to use it to design the neck of my top. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to just go ahead to stitch around the whole neckline. Oh sorry, I've already joined the sides of my top. So I've joined the shoulder, I've also joined the sides from the armhole to the hem of the top. So yes, so now I'm biasing the neckline. Okay, so this is what it looks like after doing that. So I'm also going to go ahead to do the same thing for my armhole. So that's what I'm doing here. Okay, so I'm done for both armholes, and then this is what it looks like. So now I'm just going to go ahead to work on the down part of my top. So now I'm going to first of all measure the round part, so that I'm going to find the midpoint of that point on my piece that I'm going to use to join to the top. So this is the piece. I'm just going to go ahead to notch the midpoint, and also divide the measurement that I just had from the top, from that curve area to the back. I'm going to divide that measurement by 2, and then I'm going to mark it here. Please note that the band is on fold. So after marking it, I'm going to use my scissors to notch the unfold part, and then I'm going to notch that part. So that is the starting and the ending part of my piece. So now I'm just going to go ahead to notch the midpoint for my top too. So now I'm using the bias, because I'm going to place a bias at that part. I'm using my bias now to design that part of my top, and then I'm going to go ahead to use my band to close it afterwards. So please just watch what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm done. This is what it looks like. So now I'm going to go ahead. You know the point that at notch, the starting point from the of my band. I'm just going to go ahead to start from that point and then sew it down to the other end of my band. I'm going to do that for both sides. So when I do that, I'm now going to go ahead to turn it. So the idea is that so that this other side will be turned in out, do you get, on both sides. Then I'm going to use the middle one to run to sew on my top itself. So yes, so that's what I'm doing. I've turned it to the other side and I'm going to sew this other side too. Okay, so here remember the midpoint, that point that we notch on our top and on our band. So I'm just going to find them and then I'm going to go ahead to place my band on my top and I'm going to start from there and sew all the way to the point that we started stitching to turn the band. I don't know if you get. Please, if you don't understand, just drop your question in the comment section and I'm going to answer them. So yes, that's what I'm doing right now, and after that I'm just going to go ahead and show you what it looks like. Okay, so now we are done. This is what our top looks like. So I'm just going to go ahead. The last thing is to add the zip, so that's what I'm going to do now. So now let's go ahead to work on our skirt piece. So first of all, I'm going to use my bias to turn around those cutouts at the down part of my skirt. You know, the front piece has cutout at the down part and the back piece also has cutout. The overlaying piece also has cutout. So I'm just going to use bias and turn round all this cutout. Yes, I know it's a lot of work, but just take your time and do it gently and you're going to get it. So that's what I'm doing now, and when I finish I'm just going to go ahead and show you what they all look like. Okay, yes, we are done with that. This is how beautiful it looks. So now I'm placing my overlaying piece on my actual front piece, and I'm just going to stitch where they meet each other. I'm just going to stitch it down because I want to use the back piece to stitch the sides of it with the back piece. So that's what I'm doing right now. Okay, so now let's go ahead to join the sides of the front and the back piece together. So after doing that, I'm going to show you what it looks like. Okay, so yes, we are done. This is what it looks like. It's already coming out very nicely and beautiful. So now the last stage, or be second to the last stage, is to put the band. So now I'm just going to go ahead to take my band piece, and then I'm going to just add my band to my skirt. So I'm just going to open it up and stitch it, then turn it and top stitch on top of it. So just watch what I'm doing. Okay, we are done with that. So my final stage is just to add my zipper to my skirt, and that's what I'm doing here. And after adding the zip, we are done with the skirt. So we have our skirt. Alright, so we are done. This is what it looks like. God, it looks so beautiful. Yes, so that is our skirt and this is our top. Please, if you have any questions, don't forget to drop it in the comment section. Thank you so much. If you're yet to subscribe, please hit the subscribe button. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for sticking around with me. And until I see you on my next video, bye.